Hi, everybody. Mike Handcock here, and welcome to the 5-minute webinar. This is a very practical exercise that we're going to be doing today. So you do need a pen and paper in front of you in order for you to be able to do this. And I'm going to move this along fairly quickly. The way it's going to work is I'm literally going to ask you 36 questions. And I don't want you to overthink this, because if so, you'll get bogged down in it. But really just pick, if you're doing multiple things, just pick one aspect of what you're doing from a multiple viewpoint. And then essentially, if you've got one business, pick one business. If you're doing two businesses, pick one of them. If you've got 3 product lines, pick one of them. And that's the best way that this will work for you. So I'm going to share the screen now. We're going to step through the actual the template of this. So are you ready? Here we go. Let's see. Quick screen share. And I'm going to show you how you can actually get a really solid webinar that literally only takes 5 minutes to deliver. So this could be something that you have on your website. This could be something that you use and reach out to people on LinkedIn, existing customers, a list that you may have, new people, old customers that you want to try and re-energize. It could be multi-purpose. And a beautiful thing about this is it's only going to take 5 minutes, and it's going to be the same script basically for all of you, but with some really interesting parts that will come out of this. So let's jump in. Question 1, I just want you to write down the number 1 and then the answer. What is your name? So if you just do that, that should be the easiest question to answer. Again, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen for this. So write down question 1, what is your name? Write that down on a piece of paper. Let's go to question 2. Okay, question 2. What is the name of your company, or what is the one thing that you are the proud creator of? So if you're the proud creator of the Bat Cave, Bruce, then that's what you want to write down. If you're if your company's name is ABC Limited, then it's ABC Limited. Pick one of those. Write this down. I'll look for somebody in the chat telling me I'm going too fast, but I'm going to move along relatively quickly. Next question. How many years have you been doing the transformative work that you do in your business? So if you've been doing it 5 years, write 5 years. If you've been doing it 10 years, write 10 years. If you've been doing it 120 years, write 120 years. So as you can see, questions are pretty simple at the moment. Next question. Who are your ideal clients? Remember, you need to be writing the numbers next to these. So this should have a number 4 written next to it. And so an example of that is you might write down my ideal clients. Just write down people who want to get more money, if that's your ideal clients. People who want to ride motorbikes could be your ideal clients. People who are looking to simplify their business process. People who are looking for more leadership. People who are looking to give back. It could be anything. So just write that down. So you don't need to write down full sentences, and you'll get the reason why as we go through this. So I'm giving you some hints here. Let's look at question 5. Remember, don't overthink this. Just go with the flow of what's coming in. This should have a 5 next to it. Sorry, I missed the number on this one. What problem do you solve for them? So, i.e., you might solve giving them more money for retirement. You might solve giving them freedom to express themselves. You might solve giving them better quality water. You might solve giving them a smarter way to do their books. So this is question 5, folks. I did check all the slides, but of course, not being focused on all the details, I haven't got question 5 next to it. So what problem do you solve for these people? Next question, number 6. What are they able to have or do once their problem is solved? So think of this, answering this question by putting the words "so they can." So if we go back to the previous slide for a minute, what problem do you solve? I give them more money for their retirement so they can live their life with all the joys that life should offer. So they can go and visit their children every second weekend. So they can buy a new car. So they can go on an overseas holiday to France so they can deliver the best book that they can write. So what are they able to have or do once their problem is solved? So just think the words "so they can" and write in your answer behind that. I'll take a quick sip of water at my end, give you time to just catch up. Let's move on. Question 7. What is the name of your strategy call? So for instance, if you have a meeting with a client, is it called a meeting? Is it called a strategy call? Is it called the significant blueprint of X? Is it called the mind of Zorro? What is it called? Now, for those of you that are joining the meeting now, start at question 7. I see a couple of people have just joined us. So literally write down the answers to the questions that I'm asking you. You're going to have to play catch up, but I'll send you all the questions and that when we get to the end of the call. So we're moving to question 8. What result will somebody be able to achieve when they work with you? i.e., so they will be able to have more freedom in their life. They will be able to take walks on the beach with their spouse every evening. They will be able to free up some of their time so that they don't have to work on Fridays. They will be able to have an extra 20% income in their bank. So what result will somebody be able to achieve when they work for you? You need a pen and paper, you need to write down number 8, and you need to write down the result next to that. Let's move on to question 9. What result does your ideal client want? So if you think about your ideal client, they would love to jump through hoops. They would love to be able to climb a tree. They would love to be able to not work after 5. They would love to not have to worry about money anymore. They would love to, finally lose that extra 10 kilograms. They would love to bring out their great book. So for those of you joining the call now, you need a pen and paper, you need to write down the numbers of the questions, and you need to answer the questions. You've already missed a few questions. You're going to have to go and pick those up later on, but all will become obvious in the mix. Question 10, what is the one thing that your ideal client does that costs them significant time and energy that isn't getting them the results they want? So I'll read that question again. It's quite a long one. What's the one thing that your ideal client does that costs them time and energy that just simply isn't getting them the results they want? So they might put off things. They might procrastinate. They might get up late. They might focus on the small things. They might do social media posts. They might argue with their employees. So what's the one thing that your ideal client does that costs them significant time and energy that isn't getting that client, your ideal client, the results that they want? Let's move on. You should have a number 10 next to that one. Question 11, put 11 down. What is the one thing that your ideal client does that frustrates and blocks them? So what's the one thing that your ideal client does that frustrates and blocks them? So maybe they do too much and they burn out. Maybe they work too late. Maybe they spend too much time playing golf. Maybe they're a gamer. Maybe they focus on all the wrong things. Maybe they simply take too much time to get from A to B. So question 11, what is the one thing that your ideal client does that frustrates and blocks them? So you need to write that down. Again, if you're just joining the call now, you need to write down the numbers and answer the questions. So let's look at question 12. What is the one thing that your ideal client does that costs them significant money without delivering results? So I can answer that for all my clients, ideal clients. They spend too much time on social media. They do all the wrong things right. they don't take enough action early. They don't have enough sales meetings. They focus on the general market instead of specific niches. So there's some of the things that come to my mind when I answer this question. So write down one of them. You don't need more than one answer to every question. By the way, once you go through this process, you might want to go back a second time and redo it, or you may want to use it for another line in your business as well. So what's the one thing that your ideal client does that costs them significant money without delivering results? You should be writing down the answers to each of these questions. Let's look at number 13. In relation to the struggle that you went through to get where you are today, when did this sort of experience happen? So when did this struggle happen for you? Every single one of us learnt our craft somehow. And every single one of us fought hard for all of our information that we got. So when did this struggle happen? For me, it probably happened during the global financial crisis. So that's 13 years ago now. Okay, but I was already in this business for about 4 or 5 years before that. But the struggle I really went through happened during the GFC. So that's 13 years ago. So you simply need to write down question 13 and a number of years. Let's move on to 14. What were you trying to accomplish at that point of your life? So whether it's for me 13 years ago during the global financial crisis, I was trying to build an international business of events and where I was the expert. That's what I was trying to do. So what were you trying to do at the time? Were you trying to start your factory? Were you trying to get along with your new business partner? Were you trying to get your first client? Were you trying to move from your cheap products to much more expensive products? What were you trying to accomplish? Right back during your struggle. Number 15, what was the struggle that you actually faced? So at that time, for me, 13 years ago, trying to build my international business, I was struggling to juggle all of the marketing with actually what I loved to do the most, which was literally be on the stages and speak to people. So what were you struggling to do at that stage? So I was struggling too. You could say I was struggling to finish work by 12 o'clock at midnight. I was struggling to get my first 3 sales. I was struggling to get repeat business. I was struggling to make sense of the marketplace. I was struggling to find my niche. I was struggling to compete against the biggest companies in the world that were doing what I was doing. Whatever it is for you. Let's look at question 16. What disappointing result did you get? So at that stage, you were probably disappointed. We all went through a hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, right? And we all had failures. So what was your failure? I was disappointed that. So in my life 13 years ago, I was disappointed that I couldn't crack a $5,000 sale. And I was disappointed that I was just literally working way too hard to earn the type of money that I thought I should be earning. I was disappointed that my clients weren't handpicked, that I was still having clients that were annoying me, okay? So whatever it is that is disappointing for you at that stage, what was that disappointment for you? Philippe's got, this is fun. Yeah, it is fun, Philippe. Yep. So it's nice to answer these questions, right? Wait till you see how this comes together. So let's go on to question 17. 17, how did this make you feel? I'll tell you exactly how it made me feel when I went through this. I felt embarrassed. I felt, surely I'm better than this. I felt, why can't I get this together when other people seem to be able to? And, by that stage to the world, I was doing very, very well. And most people, I've got clients, maybe even some of you on this call that were my clients back 13 years ago. But at that stage in my mind, I wasn't getting it right. So how did I feel? I felt like I wasn't getting it right. So put down whatever you felt. Let's look at question 18. What did you decide to do as a result of your struggles with the problem? So this is sort of the point where at that time for me 13 years ago, you decide to do something entirely different. So that entirely different thing is you sort of become sick and tired of being sick and tired. So what does that mean for you? So for me, I decided to, at that point, get a business partner. I decided to bring on a marketing person. So what did you decide to do at that point there? Good comment, Diane, by the way. We forget to look back in order to look forward. So what did you decide to do at that point in your life where you were struggling with that problem? Question 19. What action did you take? So what did you actually take? What did you actually do? So firstly, you decided to do something, and then what action did you take? They may be very similar or they may be quite different. So for me, I decided to say no to low-paying clients and to take on the right partners. That's what I did. So what did you decide to do at that point? What action did you actually take? So just give you a second. I'll have another sip of water here. Let's move on to question 20. Remember, it's not necessarily important on this call that you get everything right. The idea is to go through this process and see what pops out for you. What did you discover by that action you took? I discovered that I'd been doing a lot of the wrong things right. I discovered that I'd been wasting a lot of time listening to a lot of people who had been telling me what to do, who'd never actually done it themselves. I discovered that most people who tell you what to do have never done it. And that was a shock to me. I discovered that Tony Robbins had never actually tried to do what I was doing. He'd never done it. He'd launched through a series of infomercials, thanks to his friend Guthrie Renker, and I was trying to emulate him by being on stages around the world. He never did that. That came because of his fame. He didn't build his fame doing that. It was a totally different model. So what did you discover on your journey about you? 21. What did you do with your new knowledge? So now you've got this discovery. So with my new knowledge of discovering that most people hadn't done what I was trying to do, with this knowledge, I stopped listening to other people who hadn't done what I was trying to do. I stopped taking advice from people who weren't good enough to give advice. It's like taking marriage advice from somebody who was divorced 3 times. It's like taking marriage advice from a single person. You know, if you want marriage advice, go and take it from somebody who's had a 30-year marriage, who's still in love with their wife or husband. So with the knowledge, what did you do? So with this knowledge, I fill in the gap. We're a little over halfway through, folks. Let's keep moving on. So question 22, it seems to be, it's 22 minutes past 9, so we seem to have about a question a minute. What positive result did you then get? So just put down there, I was so happy because, so for me, I was so happy because I finally started realizing that I actually had all of the answers within me. I was so happy because I started realizing that by getting the right strategic people around me to answer the things that I really didn't know, who had done it before, I could fast track everything. And John, you're quite right. The ones who are always give the advice are often the people who never have done it. It's very, very true. So what positive result did you get? I was so happy because of this, this, and this. Let's move on to question 23. If you've just joined the call, you need a pen and a piece of paper. You need to write down the numbers and your answers to this question. And if you've just joined the call now, guess what? You're going to have to go back and answer 22 questions. So you're going to need to stay for the end and get the download so you don't have to listen to the call again. So here we go. Number 23. What does your program, product, or service show people how to do? So if you've got a product, so we just heard from Nigel before that, he sells trikes that are, manufactured in Germany, and he sells them in New Zealand. So what does that give people? What does it show them how to do? So Nigel, I might answer that question if I was you. It shows them how to have a really safe but very different experience of motoring. Or it shows them how freedom can be attainable by anybody, even if they don't want to, have to hold up a motorbike. So what does your program, service, or product show people how to do? It shows them how to. So our programs, even this one that you're on, all we're doing is it shows you how to gain more prosperity and greater freedom with greater purpose. That's all we do. What does yours do? Let's look at question 24. What's the first step in your program, service, or product for the client? I'll just use the word program, but you can attain it to service or product. That's question 24. Keep remembering to write down the numbers next to questions. In the first step, they come into our showroom. In the first step, they put their email address in and download our white paper. In the first step, they book a one-on-one call with me, whatever that first step is. What's the first step for your client? 25. What's the second step in the program for your client? So in the second step, they gain more freedom because they realize that this and this happens. In the second step, they will come on to a webinar where they listen to a bunch of experts. In the second step, they will get to test drive the product for 3 weeks. In the second step, we will send them a sample, whatever it is. What's the third step in your program, product, or service for your client? This is question 26. So you need 3 steps. Step 1 in your program is they're going to do this. Step 2, question 25, is they're going to do that. Step 3, question 26, they're going to get, have, or do this. Okay. Let's move on. Question 27. What result will you teach people how to get in this 5-minute webinar that you're going to do? So we're on the 5-minute webinar technology. So what's the result that you're going to teach people that you're going to get in your webinar? So I will show them the 3 keys to have a better life. I will show them the 3 keys to experience the freedom of the road on a trike. I will show them the 3 keys to understanding how to be more safe. I'll show them the 3 keys to losing 10 kilograms in the next month. Whatever it is that your webinar, this 5-minute webinar that you're here to learn about how to do is going to show them, then that's what you want to write down here. What are the 3 keys to whatever it is that you can put down here? Question 28. What fantastic result will they be able to accomplish after using your product or service? So this is where you're asking them the question as if they were sitting in front of you. What would it feel like to be driving down the road with the wind in your hair and not a care in the world? What would it feel like to finally have lost the 10 kilograms that you've been struggling to lose for the last 5 years? What would it feel like to be able to knock off work at 5 o'clock and spend the rest of your evening with your family? What would it feel like to have 12 months worth of income in your bank account and not have to worry, even if there's another pandemic? So this is the answers, types of answers to that question that we'd be seeking. Question 28. Only 8 more questions and we're there, folks. Question 29. What result will your ideal client get from the secret that you're going to share in the webinar? So this is your 5-minute webinar. So your answer is going to be, I will share a secret that helps you or that helps them So I will share a secret that helps them finally take control of their life. I will share a secret that helps them understand what weight loss is truly about. I will share a secret that helps them finally get on top of their finances. I will share a secret that helps them build more courage and confidence in their daily life, build better relationships, have a greater life, whatever it is that you decide is the answer to 29. Now, by the way, as we've gone through these last 29 questions, if you've struggled to answer any of these, then go back to that question, because I'm going to give you these 29 questions and I'm going to give you obviously the template that you put this into. But go back and re-look at your answers to these questions, because if you've struggled to answer any of these, if these are not top of mind for you, then quite frankly, you have a marketing and positioning problem and it's not succinct enough for you. If you've been able to answer all of these questions top of mind and the answers have rattled off, boom, 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 then you have a very strong marketing positioning mindset. So if you've struggled with these questions, you have more marketing and positioning work to do. And I'd suggest you go into our modules and look at that. If you're not struggling with that, then you're doing it easy. And as Philippe says, going through the Circle of Excellence program, the answers are coming easily. That's great. Let's look at question 30. What result will your ideal client get from following the 3 key steps that you've already promised to deliver in this webinar? Okay, so we've already been through the 3 key steps before, a few questions back, 24, 25, 26, I think. So they will know the 3 key steps to understanding how to lose weight, to having a better life, to the beauty of beautifully designed products, to the freedom of living the life that you want, to actually getting a grip on your spiritual self, to understanding what your dreams are telling you. Whatever it is that you're doing, they will finally know the 3 steps to that. Number 31. What is the first name of somebody who's already had great results with your program, product, or service? Bill, Bob, Mary, Sue, whoever it is. So that should be an easy question to answer. So it's sort of like your top client, the person that you really think, or one of them who's really done a good job with you, who's really had a great results from whatever it is that you do. Just write their name down. Number 32. What did they do to get the great results? E.g., they did everything that you asked them to. They worked diligently through steps 1 to 5. They took action and bought the trike. They brought their girlfriend along and took her for a ride on the trike. So they went and did a dream analysis workshop. Whatever it was, what did they do to get that great result? Get that answer down. Let's see if we're still on time. Yep, 31 minutes for 32 questions. So we're doing well. Let's look at question 33. What was the great result that they experienced? So this is their feedback to you. So the previous question, what did they do to get that great result? What was that great result that they experienced? They told me that finally they were able to take weekends off work. They told me that they actually saw a jump in their bank account. You know, the person's not on the call, but one of my clients told me literally last week on a call that I had with him that he now has 13 months worth of revenue sitting in his bank account. You know, that's a great thing, a great result from what they've experienced with you. They told me that they were finally able to reconnect with their family or their son or their daughter that had been estranged. You know, whatever it is, what was the great result that they experienced? Let's look at question 34. What is the one thing someone will finally understand when they have that call with you, when they come into that showroom, when they have that first touch point with you? What will they finally understand? So they'll finally understand that they've been doing all the wrong things right. They'll finally understand that they've been not open to losing weight. They'll finally understand that they've been heading down the wrong track. They'll finally understand that they haven't given enough attention to this issue. They'll finally understand the importance of this. So you decide what's the one thing somebody will finally understand when they have the call with you. Question 35. Remember to keep putting the numbers down next to them. Make sure that you have been. What tools will someone get when they have that first meeting or that call with you? So, you know, when somebody meets you for the first time, they're going to get something from you. They're generally tools there, and those tools could be ideas, they could be templates, they could be something physical that they get from you. So they will have the tools that will help them to lead a better life. They will have the tools that will help them to understand their money better. They will have the tools that will help them to realize what they're eating that makes them put on weight. They will have the tools that will help them to coach their staff better. They will have the tools that will help them to become more of a giving person in their life. So whatever these things are, just write that down. Okay, next question. Question 36. What will somebody be empowered to do when they have that first touch point, that first call with you? They'll finally feel empowered to take control of the situation. They'll finally feel empowered to ring that big client they've been putting off for the last 6 weeks. They'll finally feel empowered to buy something that they've always wanted for themselves. They'll finally feel empowered to take control of their life and do the course so that they learn what they need to learn. Whatever it is there, write that down. So by now, I think we've only got 36 questions in this. Let's see. Yep, clicking off that. So this is what I'm going to do now for you all. I'm going to put the 36 questions, which will be on a spreadsheet here. Basically, sorry, a spreadsheet, a PDF. I'm going to put that in the chat for you. It's going to take a little while to there, and you can all download it from there. Firstly, before I jump into unpacking this, did you have fun answering those questions? Got thumbs up from a few people. Ian, I can see you, Philippe. Well done. Thank you so much. Yes, thanks, Colleen. Great, Shazar. Again, if you came on late to this, you're going to need to go back and look at, you're definitely going to need to download what I've put in there now. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-give you the file for yourselves. Let's just make sure that's it. Yep. So what you'll see, and I'll just open this for you myself, and I'm going to take you through it just briefly. And then you can do this exercise now, or you can do it later on. Let's just get rid of that. There it is. 5-minute webinar. Just opening it. Sorry, guys. You can open your own copy if you want, but I'll just share it on the screen firstly because it's going to help you. So what you'll see here is you'll see an introduction. Welcome to the 5-minute webinar, where I'm going to share with you the 3 keys to whatever you answered in number 27. Then you're going to future pace. What would it feel like to answer to question 28? Awesome, right? So now you see it, now you don't. The problem. So here's where we're going to go through the problem. We would all love to answer to question 9, but it's so hard and it requires so much work. You answer to question 10, have to do this. You also have to do that. And you have to do this. Does that sound familiar? Now we're going to get into your struggle. I remember it was 2008 and I was trying to build my international business, blah, 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 and do this. I was frustrated. I was disappointed that I hadn't got to where other people were, and I felt really embarrassed because I felt that I should be better than that. Answers to 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Has something like this ever happened to you? Now here comes their aha moment. Would you like me to share with you a secret that I unexpectedly stumbled on that's going to help you revolutionize your business? I'll get you to lose 20 kilos in the next month, whatever your answer is to number 29. My promise to you is that by the end of this 6-minute or 5-minute webinar, it should be, that you'll know the 3 keys to whatever you wrote in number 30. Does that sound good? I'm Mike Handcock. I'm the creator of the Circle of Excellence Group. And in the last 16 years, I've been showing people how to live with prosperity, freedom, and purpose so that they can, whatever the answer of 6 is. Like I said, I stumbled upon a solution that changed everything quite unexpectedly. Here comes the path to your solution. Because I saw other people struggle like I did, I decided to, whatever your answer is to question 18, and I went into action. And then I did what was in 19, and what I discovered was your answer to question 20. Then with my newfound knowledge, I questioned 21 answer, and I was so happy because it did this and this and this for me, which is the answer to number 22. The results have been amazing. I was so excited that I sat down and defined a process to help other people, and whatever the answer to question 27 is. The 3 steps that led to a solution. And here the 3 keys are to doing whatever your answer was to 23. And then you give the 3 keys, 24, 25, and 26. When these 3 keys are implemented in the proper way, the results are outstanding. Then answers to 31, 32. So John, a client of mine who had a problem with, told me that they experienced this. So I decided to offer the Backfield program to show many more people how to do this. Are you ready to, whatever your answer is to 29, which is generally move forward, have a strategy call with me, come into my showroom, whatever. Then you're ready to have that call with me. I'd love you to meet me for a free Morpheus strategy call or whatever you're calling your call. And now the value for doing that is when you register, when you come into my showroom, when you connect with me, you're finally going to understand this. You're going to have tools that are going to help you to do that. And you're finally going to feel empowered to be this. Participants like John that I talked about above have told me this call has changed their life and it's priceless. So if you want to, click the link below and book your time with me and learn how to do this and this and this. Act now. I can't wait to help you experience the possibilities. So folks, all you have to do is take the answers for everything that you wrote there and put it into that format, and you're literally going to have a 5-minute webinar. This is something that you can then create slides to if you want to, or you can use it with video. In fact, I'm going to use one on one of our websites over the next week, and it's going to be video. So in other words, it's going to be a combination of stock video and real video that we've got in our archives as well. It's going to be up on one of our things. Bruce says, this is like a Lego set for business. So cool. It's a really simple, attractive strategy for people to really understand and get the exact type of clients that you want to start having conversations with you, to come into your office, to come into your showroom or whatever you're doing. I'll warm up my DSLR. Exactly, you could do this. And we've got the Morpheus Essence Strat. Oh, the Essence Strat, I like. You're hypnotizing them. Well, that could be true. It depends on how you put it across. Mary, you should know. In Ireland, I think there's a lot of people that are using hypnotizing webinars. But the idea behind this is to do this very authentically. So that's why I've given you guidelines on the number of words that you should have in here. So, you know, you don't have to stick to the exact script. I've given you a very generic script because, you know, quite frankly, we've got people on here that run everything from charitable ventures to hard products and services. But, you know, I do know that anybody who's got a hard product and service that you'll be able to use this and it's really going to work for you. Let's go to any questions now. And firstly, let's just make sure that you can access both of those things that are in the chat and that you've downloaded them. And so you just have to go back up into the chat. Gives me so many ideas. That's great, Shazar. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to share?
Yeah, Mike.
So yes, Philippe.
Yeah, I was wondering, so I can apply that to the design services business. I was wondering, how can I adapt that to for cable stop, the cable management device, which is already out there? How can I do a webinar to play with that? It seems doable.
I think it is doable. I would use the exact same format. So just get your brain, lock your brain into the cable management, the cable business, and then do it. And then if you get stuck, just send it to me. I'll happily have a look at it for you.
I'll do it.
Other questions? This is something, folks, that quite literally you could go live on Facebook with later on today or tomorrow morning. You could literally go to your Facebook group or your Facebook page and do a Facebook Live and literally do this webinar. You could literally read it off your screen if you wanted to. You could do it through slides, and you could have actual people. All you need is you could have a Calendly or a Zoom invitation. You could literally, for some of you on this call who are dealing in bigger tick items, you can literally say, I have 5 places available in the next 2 weeks where I can do this for 5 people. Go there now and make sure you grab one of them. And you could literally have 5 brand new potential clients talking to you right at the moment. Anyone else? Any other final comments before we leave this? Ian, you're on.
Could you just elaborate a little bit on what you could do with this? Because you're saying we should make it into a video, is that right? And then
I'm going to make it into an actual explainer video on one of our websites. So I think I'm going to have it on probably the Global Expert Institute, which is one of our companies, but I'm also going to do it on a couple of our companies we've got shareholdings in as well. And this will be a 5-minute thing to drive traffic to people wanting to have a one-on-one with somebody.
And so, I mean, my 2 main products are Lead Like Morpheus and Morpheus Genius. I could do 2 different ones, one for each.
Absolutely. But also, why couldn't you just do this as a Facebook Live webinar for both of those products? And then, people are going to watch it not live over that. And then you just put the link to Calendly or however you want your bookings done underneath it. And then you get people to come in there and then you start to have conversations with them. And again, you can morph this to however you want. Sarah, I see you're on the call for publishing. This could be a great thing to have on your website for publishing. And it also could be a great thing to do just as a one-off. Great. Any final things?
Yeah, hi, it's John Milner here.
Hi, John, how are you?
Yeah, great. Look, I just wanted to say how great that template is. It's just absolutely awesome and absolute gold, my friend. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, that's the beauty of being on some of these calls. We sometimes come up with some gold, right? So this one is a good one, and it will work for many of you. So good luck with it, folks. Have a wonderful day. Next week, let me just check next week, and we'll tell you. Oh, yeah, next week we've got a wonderful Australian. For those of you in Kiwi land that love to barter backwards and forwards with your Australian friends, Rick Schnabel, I've known him for many, many years. He's an expert in leadership and neuro-linguistic programming, which he's run events all over the world in NLP and getting some mindsets straight. So I'm looking forward to talking to Rick. Melanie, I saw you had your hand up. So one final thing.
Yeah, so there's 2 things. One, I see Diane's got a question. She said to name a strategy call is quite difficult. How can I link that to the diamond plan? That was one of her questions. So maybe you can answer that, and then I've got a question after that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see Diane's question. Sorry. Take them from there into a group, your group coaching session. So it doesn't have to go to a strategy call. It can be to a mutual due diligence, group coaching, live mastermind, or something like that, if that's what you want to do. And next question.
Yeah, I think that kind of answers it, because I wanted to know, so we're going to do this webinar, which then drives you to your next process, which is either then a strategy call, a mastermind, another webinar, or whatever it might be. So that was actually my question. But
yeah, so this is grabbing the masses and sending the right ones to the micro.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
It was great.
Fantastic, folks. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy, or evening, depending on where you are around the world. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.